Hello, and welcome to the OUTLIER Podcast, the podcast for everyone who is interested in building better homes. My name is Anthony, and I am the founder and lead designer of OUTLIER, and I'm passionate about creating beautiful and high-performing homes. I sit down regularly to chat with industry experts to help educate Australians about the potential of creating healthy, comfortable, and energy-efficient homes. Whether you are looking to build your forever home, renovate your existing house, or simply eager to learn more, tune in every month wherever you get your podcasts. We hope you join us on this journey. I have been very fortunate with the journey of this podcast to chat with many experts and knowledgeable people. As new people come to the podcast every week, we want to take all the highlights and helpful information from previous discussions to provide them to you to assist you with your own high-performance home journey. Where are those weakest points or the weakest rooms, and how do you overcome some of those issues?
The windows by far play the biggest role in how a single room will perform. Heating and cooling loads is what we talk about. Obviously orientation, but let's assume that we've got every room, habitable room in the house is facing north. So the next thing you definitely going to look at is those windows. For us, I definitely think it's window size. Everyone wants to have bigger windows than they need. They feel good, they look good. Floor to ceiling windows are great. I can tell from doing my house. I had floor to ceiling windows. I had a lot of glass facing, so all the bedrooms and the living space in my house faces north. I had floor to ceiling windows because it's my house. Let's have floor to ceiling windows. It's going to look awesome. The minute I actually reduced the window size in all of the rooms, so master bedroom, the living room, the dining room, bedroom 2 and 3, that energy rating jumped up a fair bit, to be honest, just by reducing the head heights of those windows and bringing them in a little bit.
Do you do verifications of the energy rating while you're building the houses?
Yeah, so as part of the CAPE and the design guidelines I've mentioned, they actually do require that you do a blower door test
Awesome.
at the end of the build. Obviously, it's 7 air changes is what they want to see or less. I know with one of our builders that we do a lot of work with, which is Tears Constructions, they average somewhere between sort of like, I think it's 4 and 5 on projects that we've done with them. Another one would be Harris Build. I reckon they're roughly around about the same. They seem to hover around that 4 air changes. There's a thermal performance checklist that the design review panel issues with the approval for the design, and they want to see that filled out. They want boxes ticked. So we're looking at how you're sealing things up. They make recommendations on what should be done, order of things. It's all construction stuff because we're not on site all the time. We're not doing the contract admin on projects. We're not out there, telling them what to do. Basically, we've got these builders. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is just more of like a verification thing for the CAPE to know that it's being done right, and for the client. So blower door test, the thermal performance checklist that I mentioned. They're the 2 things that is happening in the CAPE specifically, just to ensure that things are getting done right, as detailed, as per the energy rating.
Yeah.
There's a lot of universities, RMIT, they keep an eye on their houses. They're testing their houses all the time. There's information and data being gathered from a few different houses up there consistently, CSIRO, so on and so forth. So they just want to make sure that everything's being done right. They want to pass all this information on to the next developer to do the same thing somewhere else.
Yeah, that's amazing too. That the whole intention here is to open source this, provide everything that we've done here as this is how development should look into the future. I will just quickly note to everyone as well that as far as I'm aware, there's going to be a bit of a optional as-built verification checklist that'll be forming part of your energy rating certificate. if you Google First Rate 5 certificate example, you'll come up with what the 2023 version of that looks like, just a sample, and it's got this checklist on there. As far as I'm aware, it's going to be issued out with every certificate, I guess, as of October this year. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing what that looks like, or if you want to have an as-built verification done on your home, or just even for your own purposes to be able to follow through the build, go check that out. And yeah, we'll probably provide more updates on that, I suppose, later in the year once we've got more info on that as well. Given what you've been involved in and what you've seen at the Cape, and you understand like what their intent is, where do you see this going? Where do you see development going in the future? Is this something that you think others will pick up and run with? And yeah, it'd just be great to hear your thoughts.
It's already happening. So I guess I probably left some things out before. So there's no gas in the estate; it's all electric.
Yep.
That's one thing that we're seeing a bit of movement from a few other developers around to do exactly the same thing. No gas, all electric. But yeah, like I said, this is basically a test case. This is the benchmark, new standard for sustainable living. Pick that up and do it somewhere else. And I know the person, Brendan, who basically he's the brainchild of this whole thing. I know that he talks to a lot of other bigger developers, and they're always picking his brain and asking about stuff. So, the wheels are already in motion with that. And they're mad not to, like, especially if we're moving to 7 stars. We're at 7.5 up there.
Yeah.
They kind of need to adopt what's being done here and take it to every new estate wherever they can. There's no doubt that this needs to be picked up and duplicated or done better if they can in other places. I think, like health benefits across the board is huge. Mortgage strain is massive on people. If you can have a house, yes, you pay a bit more upfront. If you can have a house that basically is self-consuming, no power bills, hardly any water bills, no gas bill because there isn't any, that's huge. So like I have 6.6 kilowatts of solar. Yes, I do have a battery as well. My power bill over winter was a touch over $200.
Over all of winter.
Over all of winter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Which is basically...
We all know how bad this winter was.
Yeah, which is almost just like the connection and services fees, honestly. Summer, it's not even a thing. While the sun's shining, we're all good. Yes, I had to pay, upfront. I paid a little bit to have all those things, but over the journey, it's going to pay for itself, in a very short amount of time.
One thing we always like to ask our podcast guests is if you had one free wish for the building codes and something that would change just based on that wish, what would that be for you?
Yeah, I had a good think about this one, and I just kept backing over the same thing. And you've talked about it all the time. It's the as-built verification. How do you know that you're getting what you paid for? I think that's massive. And within our office, we were talking about this, probably like 8 years ago. So a couple of the guys within the office were builders before they started doing this sort of stuff. So, and they were talking about like when they used to do stuff. Oh, yeah, you just do this, you just slap this up, you just do this, so on and so forth. And that's many years ago, mind you. It's that mindset has completely changed now with especially with all the builders that we're doing work with personally that I've noticed. But yeah, being able to prove that what you've paid for is being constructed the way that was envisaged, especially if we're not going outside all the time to check this sort of stuff. I think that's massive. And
we do get comments, the feedback we get from that stereotypical builder is like, well, how can you charge a couple of $1,000s to look at my insulation? That's all good. Like, it's just so much more than that. Like the client, as a consumer myself, I want to know I'm getting what I pay for, and I want my house to perform as you told me it would. So,
but that's it. What is it like? Gaps and cracks, like 5% gaps and cracks, 50% heating and cooling loss. Like that's huge. Like just that in itself's massive, and that's not hard. That's just like a bead of silicon almost. Like that, like that's easy. This is all easy stuff. All this stuff can be replicated. Sealing up your windows. That's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Like these tiny, tiny little things are super easy. Anyone can do them, but they make such a massive difference.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to plug here. We do offer that service. We have thermal cameras, blower doors. We do. So if you do want to know any more about the as-built verification stuff, please do reach out to us. More than happy just to chat about it, even if you'd like to know how about going to do it yourself for your own build. So
Yeah, and if for anyone interested in learning more about the Cape, or maybe even talking a bit more in detail about thermal performance or thermal assessment and design questions, we'll have your contact details in our show notes as well, Jess. So make sure that people can reach out to you if they want to. Thank you for that interesting conversation and for sharing so much of your work with us and being so open and talking about it. Really appreciate it. All the best for the future.
Thanks, Jess. Looking forward to chatting again soon.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Outlier Podcast. You can find helpful links and contact information regarding this episode in our show notes and on our website, outlierstudio.com.au/podcast. If you like our show, please leave a review and make sure you subscribe to never miss a new episode. If you have further questions for us or would want to share some additional feedback, please feel free to DM us on Instagram or Facebook. Until next time on the Outlier Podcast.